Hey everybody, GL1 here, and boy do I have a lot of cool vehicles to show you today. Most of them are probably pretty rare, but mostly I want to show you them because they're just really interesting. And some of them have personal stories behind them, and that's important when I actually can't really date the car any other way. So I'm going to start with these two old jalopies here. This is a Roadster, and this is a Renault Roadster 1911, and this is a Maxwell. And I was on a trip to Minnesota, and we stopped in Indiana with some relatives, and they gave me these cars, and that was 43 years ago. So I was just a young boy then, and I have taken care of these ever since. This little bumper thing was broken already, and it always bothered me. But look at how it has brass parts and steel. And from what I read, these are made by Lesney, which is an British company. A couple of guys put that together. And they were making toy cars. Uh, it was after, I guess, World War II. And just to do something with all that factory potential, they were making these toy cars then. So there's those guys. These two here, these are not Matchbox or Hot Wheel. They are made, it's a company called Road Champs. This is a Porsche. And I like these because one, they had, the big off-road wheels, and they had opening doors. And that's a really rare feature. Back in the 70s and 80s, a lot of toy, Hot Wheels cars or Matchbox had opening trunks or hoods or doors. And this I got in an automotive museum, and I like to get souvenirs, and I thought these were interesting. So there's a Porsche and there's a Corvette, and I love Corvettes. And you can see how the suspension moves quite well. You see it's a single axle, so when one side moves, the other side moves a little bit too. And also has the opening doors. And this, let's see, opening door. And this one has the back opens too. So I don't know if any of you know that, but the Corvettes, this is, I believe, a 1980 Corvette, like 1984. It would have like a hatchback that would 81. Okay, 81 Corvette. So that would open. You can even see the detailing where they put the defroster. You see the defroster lines, and you can see they have windshield wipers. So pretty neat cars there. And this is a Turbo Fiero, and it has opening doors. It has a pullback motor. Yeah, I was able to get it for $3. My dad had a Fiero, so that's why I got this car. And Pontiac Fiero. But this is what's cool about it. You have a lever underneath here, and look at that. You get the lights that come up like that. So a pullback motor, the way that works is you put it on the ground and you pull, and then it zooms forward. I can show you that. It does work. There you go. All right. Now, something maybe also rare. These are Matchbox cars. This is a Porsche. And in the 80s, in the early 80s, these I got, it's hard to believe now, 40 years ago. Using lasers for decorations had just become something, I guess, affordable to do. And so there was a lot of laser art on things. And these have laser coated wheels. They also roll really well. Listen how smooth they are. You can tell they roll really well. I think this one even rolls better. We should race them one day on the racetrack and see which one wins. So those are neat. And here's another truck I got. This, it's one of those bins, and you just get a car for like $1. But what's unique about it? Rubber tires. So this is a Hot Wheels, but it has real rubber tires. Now, it's not going to be fast, but it's just going to be neat, to have. The reason it won't be fast is because there's going to be more friction between the soft rubber and the hard surface. And when you have more friction, it sticks to the road better, but it actually rolls slower. And here is a grave digger, little grave digger, right? I have a lot of grave diggers. This one has a pullback motor. And on here, it can't get the traction, so it kind of spins around. But maybe in one of the other shows I'd mentioned, I know one of the RC car shows, I got to ride in Gravedigger once down in North Carolina. They had a garage, and before the insurance got too expensive, they were able to take you on a ride in one of their Gravedigger trucks, and we ran over some cars and went up a steep embankment. And when you are in one of those vehicles, it is really fast. All right, so this I couldn't find who made it, but it's just I don't think it's Hot Wheels or Matchbox, and I don't think it's Muscle Machines either, but I just thought it was cool. This is a 57 Chevy, station wagon. Ugh. All right, station wagon. It's not a word we say too much anymore. It used to be very common. All right, then I'm going to move on to Muscle Machines. This is a Muscle Machine, and this came with a bunch of parts that you could change the wheels and change the motor on it and change the exhaust pipes. So just the whole thing came apart. You could see it has a Phillips head screw there and one there. And this is the design I came up with. And I'm sure I have the parts somewhere, but, you put these things away. And I made it the way I wanted, and then I didn't care anymore. These are also Muscle Machines. And again, with the gigantic engine sticking out, the blowers and everything. But they're heavy, okay? This is probably, maybe... quarter of a pound. It's pretty heavy. It's very solid metal. But what's neat about it is it has real treads. See that? Look at that. So you have chrome. Now I've had these things for, 15 years maybe, and the chrome has not lost any of its luster. So that's a pretty cool, because sometimes chrome, if it's not good chrome, it wears off. Actually, you can see this one's kind of worn. See how it's not as shiny as probably as it used to be. This is another Muscle Machine vehicle, and again, treads, real rolling treads, So I thought that was neat. The turret spins. So, and again, it's heavy. They even come off, And this one, just to complete, it doesn't, it's just wheels. But you can see it has the transmission parts underneath. Now, this is a vehicle that this is based on a real vehicle. It's amphibious, and it's meant to go, on land and through, you can take it on rivers and lakes. If you're fording a river, going across it. And it's based on this vehicle here. That's why I got this one out. Okay, so this is what they really look like, and I've been in one of these in Minnesota. You can take a ride, or Wisconsin. See, it has a propeller there, so they'll drive you. You get on, a bunch of people get on, and they drive you down to the Mississippi, and then they take it in the Mississippi, and they're not fast, but it's kind of neat, All right, so I'm going to show you. Here we go. Here's another vehicle. This is Matchbox. And again, you got the treads. So treads are neat, I think. They're really cool on radio control vehicles. And if you look back at some of my episodes, I have some treaded vehicles. What's nice about treads is they go over anything. This is really old. This is 1979. I remember playing with this. I always like vehicles that carry other vehicles. So it always kind of bothered me that they were so tiny but to scale, I had the larger car carrier that you could put matchbox sized cars on, but that has since been lost. And yet I've kept this, and as you can see, it's mint condition. I mean, there's really no scratches or anything on it, and even the chrome is still there. In our car race, if any of you saw that big, the 45-minute car race, there was a little white vehicle that was a Citroen, and this is the Citroen that I remember growing up. And see, look, it has the back gate opens. And so this is a toy that was made in 1979. And like I said, back in the 70s and 80s, you got these features on your cars. This is a Matchbox, and it rolls, pretty well. All right, now here's something unusual. And if any of you have ever seen this vehicle before, but this is a Hot Wheels vehicle, and 2015 already. Can't believe it. What's unusual about it is it has rubber bands that you put in it, and you have different tension rubber bands. So that's the pink one. This is the green one. The green one's thicker. And what you do is you wind it up, and you can see it wind, and then you let it go, and then you race that across the ground. So pretty neat, huh? I guess you could jump that over things and stuff. So I just put that on there so I don't lose it. All right, now I'm going to get into some suspension vehicles. I always like suspensions. I like springs and suspensions, and I suspect a lot of kids do too. Just, it's neat to see them actually work, right? So this is a rock climbing vehicle. And rock climbers have the straight axle with a lot of sway in that axle, okay? And these are anti-sway bars, so they support the axle on the vehicle and allow it to really travel. It's got what's called like a long travel range to travel up over rocks. So no special features on that one. But this one, it has the same kind of suspension, although it doesn't have as much swing. But what it does have is it has two pullback motors. It's a four-wheel drive pullback motor with a spring suspension. And isn't that cool? And again, this is one of those secondhand store things I found. And I think you can still get these. They're about $10. But I don't know that they all have that double pullback motor. I'm going to show you that. So you see? I'm going to do that again. Both sets of wheels are moving after pulling it back. The rear ones is a better motor, I guess. But I thought that was unusual because if you take it off-road, the front wheels have some power, so they're going to be pulling it up over little gravel, rocks, or things like that. And this one, I bought this, oh my gosh, probably more than 20 years ago, and I bought it because of the suspension. So you can see, look at how swingy that is, right? Really moves a lot, and it's all metal parts, metal axle, metal body. It's very heavy, and it came with a key, and you'd put the key in, and it would make revving sounds. And sometimes I find the key, and then, this is year 2000. Sometimes I find the key, and I put it aside, knowing I'm going to need it for this vehicle, and then I forget where I put it. And we're once again back at that place. I don't know where it is, but it'll turn up, and then I will probably forget where that is. So, all right. Here's something unusual. This is sort of a Mad Max vehicle. So you can add all these little accessories to it. It's like a war vehicle. So these come off. You have like one wing, not two. And then you have like this fist holding a Sith, and that comes out. And then you can swap that for this, whatever that is. And then you can just push that in. And then if you want to put your wing back on. And then you have these weapons that you can add. And I guess the idea is you'd race them towards each other, and they would, do battle. And then you can push this on. And that just snaps on there. And these are made by Mattel as well. And I think it had a key. I think it was what you put a key in there. That's what it looks like. You put it in there, there's a spring, and it shoots off. And I kept all the pieces together except the key. So I'm not sure where the key is, and that will probably turn up. But, it's like some kind of battle vehicle. All right, now back to suspensions. All right, one of the coolest things probably ever made are these vehicles. You see these now? Listen to this one, how stiff it is. Hear that noise? That's because the suspension is stiff. And listen to this one. See, hear how quiet? It's smooth. Well, it has an adjustable suspension. Somebody was like, hey, guess what? We're going to make it so, see how this one's harder to push up than this one. We're going to make it so you can adjust the suspension. Won't that be fun? And yes, it is fun. And these are Johnny Lightning. So it came with a little wrench. And I actually have the other wrench too. And you just turn this here. And what I would imagine it has, this is how you adjust the tension, is it pulls down probably on a straight piece of metal that pushes into the axles. And so when you tighten it, it pushes harder onto the axles and makes them stiffer. And then when you loosen it, it probably has a spring on this screw, and that goes up, and then it allows these to flex more. So actually, when I do this, I can feel some tension on this one. So that supports my theory that there's a piece of metal that goes all the way across over the axles. So this one I put in stiff suspension. So isn't that neat? Actually, listen. And listen to this one. So the higher pitch is because it has higher tension. All right, I am not done showing you cool things. All right, so here's a rev up. All right, now I have seen these on eBay at one time for like $100. Crazy. I guess this thing was probably, well, it says it was $5.94, and I got it for $1.48. And it has a magnet, so you can stick it onto like a refrigerator and roll it, and it'll roll around, right? But that's not what the coolest thing is. It has 2 gears, okay? So what that does is you can rev it on the ground, and I have one out of the package. See this one here? So it's 4-wheel drive. So we can look at the back. The back actually is pretty neat too. So you could get like a whole set and rev them up and jump them, and it'll stick to like a locker. That's a metal, oh, there it is, metal locker. Okay, so what you do with this is you push it, it revs up a motor, and it has 2 gears inside, and you push down on it, and it changes gear. So I'm going to show you that. Okay, that's slow. And then you see it take off? All right, so isn't that neat? And it's just struggling. It was just hitting that and trying to climb up it. All right. And then there's another one that is similar to that. And there's this brand here. And this one does not have the gears. So it does have the 4-wheel drive rev motor. And it does have the magnets. So it will stick to things. But nowhere near as sophisticated as having, the gear system inside. Okay, moving on to unusual toys. Now this is a French rescue treaded vehicle. It's to rescue tanks that get stuck. And I think I was probably about 14 or so when I got that. So this is really old. We're talking probably mid-80s. And you could see it has spring suspension here. So, real treads. And this lifts up and down. And then it had like these ropes that could come off, these plastic ropes. You're going to fix those to there. And then this, a little like a diamond, like it's like a light. And I guess they have to have some kind of defense, a machine gun. And then here's, some Oh, you could use that for tying down things and leverage. And then here you go. You've got your rescue arm, and then that has a rope on it. Pull that out, and you have a metal hook, and then you can just roll that up. Well, you gotta put some tension on it. And look, it even has like a little hydraulic part in there that you can see moving. Very detailed. Pulley, these are pulleys. So, all right, so, you know, sometimes when you're doing a show, simple words that you know don't come to you and makes you look dumb. But so it is. And it even has a hook on the back, so you could tow hook, so you could tow things. So this is, yeah, Corgi toys. Yeah, Corgi made some really cool toys. Recovery tank. Yeah, there you go. Actually, didn't even look at that. I just remembered. So, all right. And probably you've seen a Pez truck. So it actually rolls, and then you open it up, and there's candy you put in there. Put your Pez in there, and that's just a Pez truck. So I thought, you know, maybe that's something you haven't seen. Here's a limousine, and this is Majorette, made in France. So pretty neat. Very fine rolling. Make some room here. I got some really cool things coming up to show you here. And see what's neat about this? Look at that. All these doors open. So, 4 doors. So I don't know if any of you saw Crocodile Dundee, but there was a white limousine in there, and it probably was this. This is a Cadillac limousine. You can tell that from the lights in the back. Probably like a early 80s or 1979, 78 model Cadillac. Oh, and it even has a sunroof that opens and closes. Pretty neat, huh? And another suspension vehicle. So this one, actually, you can put like the 3.5-inch action figures like Batman. And look, it has real steering. It has a suspension, and you can actually turn the steering wheel and steer it. And this is for digging up mines. So when you're driving along, you can pull the mines up so you don't blow up, because nobody really likes blowing up. And then you even have suspension in the back, each independent suspension, actual independent suspension, not a straight axle. Isn't that cool? That's why I got it, because I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then you have, you know, these machine guns. You have your mini gun, and I guess that's radar targeting. So, and they come off also. So, all right, and now these. Now, these are Hot Wheels that turn into robots. So somebody was probably like, once again, hey, what do kids like? They like robots. They like cars. Let's make cars that turn into robots. And so they did. And they didn't make that many of these, actually. And they didn't last long, but they're really cool. And I believe they're kind of expensive to get on eBay. So this one, they go like that. And then they come up like that. And then they have little arms. See, he has little arms, his little robot head. And then he has rockets that hold onto the sides of his hands. And then this, this can become a shield. So you can put that in his hand, and he can use that as a shield. And they all pretty much work the same way. So he can come off completely, like that. And then you can put him in action poses. So, like this. All right, so he's like that. And then you stick that back leg. I don't know. His leg's bad. Yeah, well. And you could just, manipulate it around till you get it to stay. But now he's like, you can ride him and you can take him and you can ride down the track, And then I guess you could have the track like a big U and you could have one slam into the other one and see which one wins the battle. This one's a dump truck, obviously, with jets in the back. This comes off. This becomes a shield as well. And then this guy, if I can pop that up, pops up. So they transform quite quickly and easily into a usable toy. And you see his little head there? So there's his head. And his head turns. He can look around. And then he's got a hammer as one weapon. And then a drill as the other. And, he's backwards, right? So you can just turn him around. And again, you can put him in like a action kind of pose. He could go like that. He could be like, I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna kick you as I'm coming down the track, right? So that's kind of cool. So they all do that. And then here, this guy comes apart. Yeah, and he's got like 2 shields. So he squats, see his little head in there, and then see his head turn. Okay. And then each one of his arms is using this as a shield. And then he's got his legs real wide. So then he can ride down, Maybe he can look through the shield, kind of like lower it and slam into you or whatever. And then lastly, this one, you can see his head right there on the back. And then this comes off. And then he pops up and he's backwards. So you can turn him around. And he can be doing ballet as he's going down the track. He's kicking back and he's doing ballet. So he's the fancy robot. Likes to show you how easily he can move around. All right. Now, I've got a couple more things that are really cool. All right. Here we go. All right. See this? This is another one of those things. Yeah, all right. This is the sales pitch meeting. Kids like things that fly, right? Sure. And they like things that carry other vehicles. Yeah. And they like robots. So let's make all that into one toy. So you have a jet, but the jet has wheels. So it can roll, okay? And then this can come out. Oh, well, not only that. Before we do that, it fires a missile. So you can fire a missile. So it can be down on here and fire a missile. Okay, you can just push that in. And then it opens up and it is a car carrier. But before it's a car carrier, it's a robot. So now it's a robot. And see, he's a robot. Okay, and his head turns. All right. And he can hold on to this gun. That flips over. That fits in there. Now he's got like a big gigantic gun. All right. It's a little bit unreasonable to carry something that big in one arm, but he's a very strong robot. And these can fold back. All right. So there you have it. And this even comes off. So if that is annoying you in the way, right? So that can come off. So now he's a robot. All right. Here. Let's fold back. But he's not done with the fun. So this opens up. And then inside you can carry one or two of your favorite vehicles. And this was one of my favorite vehicles growing up because I liked the idea of always taking my house everywhere. So this is a GMC camper van. And I've had this a long time. Let's see if it says when this was made. I think it's it's a little tough sometimes to see with the chrome because it's so reflective. Yeah, 1976 mobile home. So I don't think I've had this since 1976, but probably 1980. And pretty good condition. I wish you could see inside better though. But you can tell that there's like sofa in there. Yeah, there's like an L-shaped sofa or maybe it's actually goes, I think it goes all the way around. It'd be cool if you could see the kitchen and if it had like a roof skylight, right? That would be neat. But anyway, that's that. And this, I've seen this on eBay. This is also one of those things that's really expensive. So I guess, afterward they were like, oh my gosh, that really is cool. And then people made it really valuable. So, all right. And I'm not done. I have something else to show you. All right. These. And yeah, I got this for $2. So this is Matchbox. Matchbox loves to make things that come apart into other things. I have to make clear that observation because I have a lot of Matchbox toys that do that. So these, and there's other sets, and you can find these too on eBay, but they come apart and they have little wheels underneath, and you can just plug and play and arrange them into whatever vehicles you want. So this one actually can go into there, and they even have pullback motors. So this would be a front-wheel drive pullback motor vehicle. It has real rubber tires, and look, it even has little guns here, and they flip out. Look at that. What detail, right? Little guns that flip out, and they fall apart. But so you can arrange this however you want. Well, not however. There are limitations, right? But you could make this shorter, so the pullback motor would be more effective the shorter it is, because it wouldn't be pulling as much weight, right? So you can go like that. And then here's one. And so the pullback motor again is in the front. So there's, sort of your space age vehicle, and then you have jets, and then, you have like a dragster, like a dragster back end there. And connectors, connectables, that's what these are called. Yeah, connectables. And that comes apart like that. See, and then you can put that back on there. And if you want, of course, you can go like this. Take that apart, and then if you liked it like that, right? And then this connectable here, so you have your 18-wheeler front, right? And this one, there, now your pullback motor is in the back, actually. And yeah, and you can hear, actually, that is going to be geared for torque, not speed. So you can hear it's kind of slow. Actually, let's demonstrate that. So, see, it's not fast. And they can gear pullback motors that way. I actually have some other toys that I couldn't find today that are really neat, that have suspensions and pullback motors and 2 gears. But this is what I was able to find today. So you can see, again, this all comes apart, and then you can make your short 18-wheeler truck like that. So, all right, well, I hope you enjoyed that, all these rare and interesting vehicles, and I look forward to showing you something cool soon. Take care.